Hello everyone, welcome once again to Primetime Analysis. Now, one of the current and hot news that everybody is talking about is the recent abduction of businessman Jaswant Singh Rai. Singh Rai is someone who is known to many people, especially those who are engaged in business in the country. We know that Rai controls close to half of sugar production and sales in this country, and therefore he remains an important factor when it comes to looking at the sugar sector. He is also involved in timber sales, where he has that company called Timsales, and is also the leader and the owner of the Menengai Oil company. So he has a lot of business interest across the country. Now, it is reported that on Friday, 25th of this month, Jaswant Rai was abducted, and a photo, in fact, not even a photo, a CCTV footage has been circulating online. Shared, I saw one by Eric Theuri, the Law Society of Kenya president, and was calling for immediate release of this businessman from the abductors. Later on Sunday, late in the night at around 9 p.m., it was revealed that Rai has been released by his abductors. His release was unconditional as per what is being revealed, and it is also open that Rai did not pay any ransom to those people who abducted him. So the question remains, who really abducted Rai? And what was the main reason for his abduction? We know one thing, that running that kind of a big business is something that, first of all, since he has interest in many industries, he is somebody who is of interest to the government. First, because he is one of the leading employers in the country. Looking at the chain of companies that Rai controls in the country, he ranks among the leading employers in this country, both directly and indirectly. Second, when it comes to payment of tax, having those many businesses only means that he must also ensure that his tax payment is also updated. And therefore, he is somebody that remains a special person for the government. And therefore, any stupid abduction that takes place cannot be allowed easily. And in some places, I think in other countries, you'd realize that when a businessman has such kind of wide net of investment, there is some level of security that such person gets. And even for him himself, I do not know the level of security that Rai had for himself, but I believe that he is somebody who should also ensure that his personal security is prioritized. But that is not our main topic of discussion. In this analysis, I want us to probe this question critically. Who really abducted Rai? And what was the intention behind this abduction? Because people have rumored and thrown different issues here and there. There are people who are saying that the abduction was the government's work. There are people who are saying that the abduction were people who wanted some serious ransom to be paid. There are those who have said that this is something that is coming from family feud that has been there for quite some time. So there are different cocktail of issues that people are trying to push around here. And for us, I want us to look at it and question critically what was the intention behind his abduction and who abducted him. Before we start this, please, I am requesting each and every one of you who is watching us for the first time, take a second or two to subscribe to this channel. And those who have subscribed, we thank you for the support, and remember, we do not take that support for granted. We hope that you will stick with us because there are many informative and engaging content that we have planned for you in the near future. So let's get together and join in growing this channel. Now, for us in this analysis, I want us to look at the angle of government being involved in this abduction. We know that from the start of the Kenya Kwanza regime, they have been targeting senior business people who are linked to the previous regime, especially those who are close to the Kenyatta family. Rai is one that is rumored to be closely tied to the Kenyatta family, especially in different business dealings. And therefore, if William Ruto regime was targeting the Kenyatta family, one of the people they would target to ensure that they cripple their business empire is target Rai himself. So Rai was abducted. There was no ransom that was requested. And then at the time when the family made public the CCTV footage, we realized that at night we are told that the businessman has been released. Remember, the OB was submitted at a Kilimani police station on the same day. I think it was on the second Saturday when it was realized that he could not be traced all over again. For us to get a little bit of a link to what happened and who really abducted Rai, kindly listen to President's speech today in Bungoma County.
Na wakora wote wako katikati, musikuwe na wasiwasi ati kuna mtu atakuja kutuongelesha Kiingereza hapa, sijui muhindi fulani, sijui nani mnani. Hapana, hiyo haiwezekani. Sijui mwingine ananiambia Rai nani? Hapana, hiyo haiwezekani. Yeah, hiyo no. Hii ni mali ya wananchi na hatuwezi kukubali mtu ambaye ata take advantage of people in this region. Nobody is going to take advantage of anybody. The government of Kenya is going to make sure that the right thing happens.
Now, if you listen to that speech, you will note that the government and the president himself, who by now should be aware that this serious businessman is missing, is talking tough and calling and dismissing the business person and saying that cartels in the sugar industry will not control this sector again. I am of the opinion that this abduction could have been the government's hand. And this was done to ensure that Rai gives in to certain issues that the government wanted addressed. Remember, during the meeting that Moses Kuria held with the oil marketers, the edible oil producers and manufacturers, there is rumor that came out of that meeting that Moses Kuria was pushing for these businessmen to have shares of their business given to certain people in the government. And therefore, when they refused and they said they are not going to budge to that request, the government went out, started to import edible oil, and the other day you saw the president of Indonesia and our president launching edible oil dispensers with the reason and with the purpose of ensuring that when they import edible oil, they can sell them to the local economies easily without facing challenges, as it were. So if you ask me, I believe to a larger extent, the government can stand blamed for the abduction of Rai. And if it was the government, what would be the intention? I want us to look at this critically. The first one is desire to cripple the Kenyatta family empire, business empire. Kenyatta family is, I think, if not one of, but it is the richest family in this country. And therefore, it has business interest across different sectors of the economy. And therefore, if they decided to make a single change in their business sector, they have the ability to even change how Kenyan economy runs. And for this, the current regime believes that the Kenyatta family has a lot of stake in this country, and it is possible for them to cripple this economy by ensuring that they frustrate his development agenda. And therefore, I think William Ruto is using his strategy to ensure that he cuts the Kenyatta family down to size, and business barons that supported that family to ensure that it remains high get frustrated one by one to ensure that he can hold this economy in his hands and control it as he wants. That is one thing I think President William Ruto is really fighting to have. That is something that is there. I believe that could be one of the reasons why this government decided to have him abducted and give him a threat, or even make him concede to certain demands that the government would want to ensure that their business plan goes as it is. The second thing that I would think this government opted or wanted to prove is that they want to have new structure when it comes to the sugar industry. And to confirm this, the president was in Bungoma. And even as you've listened, the president talked tough and he said that this is the government that will bring reforms to this sector. We know that as it is, there are certain businesses in this country that have been crippled with the interest of certain big business people who want to have that sector under their control. And therefore, I believe the president is looking at Rai and thinks that he is somebody who has participated in bringing down of our national and parastatals that are bringing out sugar so that he can have his private sector produce sugar and sell it to this country at high prices as he would want to have it. So that is also one of the reasons why I think the government would have wanted that this person gets to be told to ensure that he releases or he does not have that full control of sugar industry that he would think he can have. The government would have wanted to ensure that Rai accepts to step down, scale down his sugar production, or even to some extent surrender some to the government and have him reduce his dominance in this sector. The third reason why I think this thing could have happened is the fight against opposition sympathizers. Many might not know it, but it is rumored that Rai is one of the people who really funded the Azimio campaign to a larger percent when it comes to the financial aid. Though this aid is said to have come through former president's brother, Muhoho Kenyatta, I think one thing that is evident is that this government has always said that there are certain forces that are funding Azimio demonstrations. And there are people who are hell-bent to ensure that William Ruto's term gets disgruntled and does not end well. And therefore, they are using their control of the economy and they are also using the financial muscle that they have so that they ensure that the president does not settle down easily. This could be a reason why Mr. Rai was targeted, because if he is somebody who contributed heavily to the Azimio campaigns, they also rumor that he is also continuing to fund the demonstrations that are going on. That could be a serious reason that would make the government want to have this kind of person arranged or abducted to some extent and then given certain instructions. And if you listen to the instruction that is coming out, Kioko Kilukumi, who is his lawyer, after his release, says that the abductors instructed Mr. Rai not to talk about his ordeal and what happened to him during that abduction period. Therefore, you can think and ask yourself what or who really abducted him. Many directions point at the government. I want you to also remember the abduction of Raila Odinga's bodyguard. It happened almost in the same fashion as that Mr. Rai was subjected to. People came, marooned him, took him into their car, and caused all sorts of trouble to him and torture that was unnecessary, if you ask me. So I believe, to some extent, while it is not definitely proven, I believe the government has many questions to answer in the abduction of Mr. Rai. And there are different theories that have been pushed. There are those who are also saying that Mr. Rai has been having a family problem between him and his two brothers, where they're contesting how to share the wealth that their father left to them. There are those who are thinking it is not right for Mr. Rai to be the head of that business empire, and they want to have their own way of ensuring that their businesses and any financial or any wealth that is supposed to be shared is shared in the right way. So that is also something that is thrown. I don't know whether that is really something that would have reached that level, but for me, government stands accused of the abduction that took place as it was reported. Let's wait and see how things unfold. But for me, I believe it is a strategy that the government is using to ensure that it has control of this sugar sector and also have full control of the economy out of the previous regime sympathizers. Please remember to subscribe to this channel and also like this video.